This is the first part of our video series, SME Sourcing Strategy in the 21st Century. In this presentation, we introduce our strategic sourcing framework and share our proven methodology for effective and efficient strategic sourcing. Our strategic sourcing framework helps companies address the key purchasing challenges faced by small and medium-sized enterprise in today's era of economic uncertainty and rapid technology transformation. As a procurement manager, one of the primary challenges we face every day in our work is how to manage spend creep and cost containment. Managing a budget is never an easy feat, and you need a team with deep sourcing or industry expertise to ensure all requirements are captured accurately and completely. We are under increasing pressure from finance to report and account for all realized savings associated with purchase contracts. As part of these new performance criteria, you need to be able to measure the real savings achieved on new contracts and account for how these savings are translated to business outcomes, such as earnings per share, working capital, and operating profit. Compliance to contracts is another area that is often overlooked, as it is never easy to enforce, but it's important to ensure that you get the best value for price from the entire supply base, and not just rely on the preferred supplier. Last but not least, in today's digital age, technology is the key enabler for many business process innovations. Sourcing methodologies and procurement technologies have been evolving rapidly in recent years and include spend analytics, e-sourcing, supplier management, service level agreement dashboard, reverse auctions, savings tracking and budget planning, and many other innovations. These tools enable higher process efficiency and better tracking of savings and compliance. Our challenge is to allocate time to master these technologies and assemble a tech-savvy team to manage them. To sum it all up, we need to satisfy the greater needs and expectations of project stakeholders to reduce costs and risk, to raise performance by increasing delivered quality, and to increase value creation through new sectors and expansion across the value chain. In this presentation, we would like to introduce to you our 4-step strategic sourcing framework that provides you with a systematic way to implement strategic sourcing that will accelerate your process to deliver bottom-line savings and increased value from your supply base. We will start by assessing the opportunity size through a macro-level spend analysis, utilizing benchmarks where available, while ensuring benchmarks are comparing apples to apples rather than to pears. Stakeholder interviews are then conducted to evaluate an enterprise's organizational capabilities, including its process for sourcing, procurement, and compliance, its systems or tools enabling the procurement processes, and the skills levels within the organization. To assess the implementation feasibility, we interview the stakeholders to understand the level of sophistication and depth of initiatives undertaken and completed in the past. Finally, we assess the enterprise's staff and internal capacity, utilizing the results of the macro-level spend analysis, and by considering the transaction volumes and complexity of each product category. Upon kicking off our strategic sourcing initiatives, we determine the appropriate and relevant data sources and then start collecting the data. Some of the potential data sources that we might require are the financials from your ERP system, P-card, cash disbursement, and data on existing suppliers. This data usually needs to be cleansed to remove duplicates, and then to include mapping of a coded hierarchy, which we create in order to prepare for the spend analysis. A suitable spend analysis tool is then chosen and used for loading the spend data and for conducting the spend analysis. We then develop and run several spend scenarios and conduct interviews to review the outputs and to validate the model observations with existing contracts and metrics. Ultimately, a detailed savings estimates will be generated covering a specified time frame. We usually provide plans for 2 years projected savings. For commodity category sourcing, a commodity profile is first created, whereas a category profile will be created for specialty category sourcing. This profile will include a category description, spend analysis, risk and opportunities, supply and demand dynamics, key players, external scanning, portfolio positioning, cost and price analysis, value chain analysis, total cost of ownership, supplier positioning, and localization opportunities. A procurement strategy is then developed based on project requirements and the category profile. Once the evaluation criteria are defined, the RFP and RFQ documents will be created and transmitted to selected suppliers. Also, the auction platform will be set up at this stage if applicable. Upon the closing of the tender, we will work with your team to evaluate and analyze the supplier respond documents and will organize suppliers meetings on your behalf. We conclude the category sourcing phase by producing a benefits realization document and an implementation plan that together provide an unbiased view of the different options available to you, with the key metrics such as savings, quality, and risk factors clearly presented in each option. The key to achieving savings through strategic sourcing is proper governance and compliance. Business divisions must buy into setting up new contracts and procurement policies. Rogue and maverick spending must be controlled or eliminated. Savings and other expected benefits need to be continuously tracked and measured against initial projections. There should be a dedicated team or person tasked with supplier relationship management, who can act as the intermediary between the suppliers and internal stakeholders. Suppliers should be managed to maximize and continuously improve their performance. To maintain the pricing competitiveness, the product category should be resourced by going through this process again regularly, usually at the end of the contract term. In the contract, there should be a clause inserted to re-evaluate the pricing of the product to the existing market on an annual basis, and to enable pricing adjust if the market conditions have changed significantly. Our 4-step strategic sourcing framework is an iterative process as we collaborate with your team to uncover savings opportunities and all the way through to delivering the savings, and onwards to then continuously fine-tune the process to maintain the savings. To maximize the outcome of strategic sourcing initiatives, there must be a strong commitment to change within the organization. It's important to understand that strategic sourcing is more than just a purchasing initiative. It must be a company-wide initiative if the best results are to be obtained. Strategic sourcing can be a very strong catalyst for positive change. This concludes the first part of our video series, SME Sourcing Strategy in the 21st Century. In Part 2, we will dive deeper into our 4-step strategic sourcing framework. We will show you the tools and technologies that can streamline your procurement process. Please subscribe below if you wish to receive this video when it is available. Note, this video will be sent to you by email and will not be available on our website.